What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat versus Nickal will be as big as Jones versus Aspinall? Right now, most MMA fans would probably agree that the biggest fight to make in the UFC is a Jon Jones-Tom Aspinall heavyweight title unification bout, with an Islam Makhachev-Ilia Topuria fight right behind it. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. The way Nickal sees things, if he keeps stacking up wins inside the octagon, there's no reason why a fight between him and Khamzat Chimaev can't be just as big. During an interview with Home of Fight this week, Nickal dubbed a fight between him and Chimaev as the most exciting fight in the division.
At the top, Jones and Aspinall, you got Ilia, potentially with Islam or another 55er, and I think right after that, the most exciting fight next is me and Khamzat. So, that's something that the fans need to see, that I want to see. I'm sure he wants it as well. So I just got to keep winning fights and we'll make it happen.
Of course, on top of Nickal getting ready for a fight with Reinier in May, Chimaev's expected to be next in line for a crack at the title. The way Nickal sees things, when Boris finally shares the octagon with Dricus du Plessis, there's a pretty good chance that Chimaev's grappling proves to be the X factor. I think the striking is pretty even. Khamzat has obviously massive advantage in grappling. You just don't get strong grapplers like that competing. Dricus is not going to have a game plan for that. Really, the only two guys I believe in this sport that can give that feel are me and Khamzat. While there's no word yet on when the DDP Chimaev fight will happen, the expectation is that the two will collide sometime this summer, with Dana White notably wanting Chimaev to fight for the belt in the United States. Michael Chandler fires back at PED accusations. Before Michael Chandler signed with the UFC, a small section of the MMA world questioned whether the reason he chose to stay with Bellator was because the UFC had year-round testing under USADA. As Chandler told Brett Okamoto years back after signing with the promotion, the critics did not have any more room to talk. Now, all these years later, despite never failing a test, Chandler will occasionally find himself on the receiving end of PED accusations, in part due to his chiseled physique. During an interview with Covers this week, Chandler was dismissive of the accusations that have followed him. And it's mainly water off a duck's back, because unfortunately there's no way to ever prove it, right? I could get tested every single day for the rest of my career and people will still claim that I've got Dana White privilege and Dana is in charge of the testing and they can just sweep them under the rug, or they can dilute them. I've heard all of the different things. It is what it is. I know that I know the truth. My family knows the truth. My God knows the truth, and that's really all that matters. Although he's getting ready for a fight with Paddy Pimblett, Chandler also spoke about the possibility of fighting Conor McGregor down the line, saying that he plans to call out the former champ come April 12th. I'm going to do my job on April 12th and then I'll call out Conor again and we'll see if he ever comes back. I've got a lot of critics and a lot of people who have made fun of the whole process who are still going to buy the pay-per-view or show up in person at T-Mobile Arena or whatever it is. All I know is I want to see Conor be a man of his word. If Conor comes back this year, I'm fighting him. If McGregor doesn't come back, Chandler has other plans. With no clear-cut number one contender at 155, he isn't closing the door in a title fight with Islam Makhachev come June. I'm open to fighting Islam in June. The way this fight plays out, I think I'll have less than a 60-day suspension, maybe a 30-day suspension, and I could fight again in June because the fight would be June 29, I believe it is. So that's like 10 weeks later. So I could jump right back into a training camp and fight for the world title. All those names are on the table. Topuria, Gaethje, Sarukian, freaking Islam. There's a world in which I go out there and emphatically starch Paddy Pimblett, and it's the "what have you done for me lately" business. While Chandler has no shortage of options on the table, everything starts with a win come April 12th. While Chandler is planning on calling out Conor after his fight with Paddy Pimblett, it looks like Conor might have other plans. During a BKFC press conference, Conor revealed that he has bigger plans now that he's involved in politics, and his focus is no longer just on fighting. Here's what Conor said.
Like I said, I've got 2 fights on the contract. I'm in negotiations. Last week something happened to me. I went to the White House. And my country is in my, my heart bleeds for my country right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on back home. I'm happy with what I've done. There's something else for me that's in my gut right now, and that's kind of where I'm going. So we'll see. Greatness don't rush, and right now Ireland is in my thoughts, and that's where I'm at.
While he did say that you can't rush greatness, Conor is getting older every day, and the chances of him making a comeback get slimmer and slimmer the longer he waits. Do you think we'll ever see Conor fight in the UFC again? Daniel Cormier warns Tom Aspinall about Jon Jones' fight. Nothing is finalized yet, but according to both Dana White and Tom Aspinall, a title unification bout with Jon Jones is gonna happen. In the meantime, Aspinall's been having fun at Jones' expense, calling him a duck and even bringing a rubber duck to the Fight Night London card this past weekend. The way Daniel Cormier sees things, however, Aspinall might be in for a rude awakening come fight night if the bout does wind up getting finalized. During the latest episode of he and Chael Sonnen's Good Guy Bad Guy show, DC issued a warning to the interim champion, saying he's very mean, he's very durable, he's hard to fight, and Tom Aspinall is going to find out. Right, you know what the craziest thing is about being Tom Aspinall and being young and winning? The fans in the world can really make you go, I'm going to get this dude. And then you're in there and you start losing, and you're like, God dang it, how am I losing? How does he deal with that if that starts to show itself in the fight or a long fight? Because it's going to be hard to get Jon Jones out of there in 1 minute. As DC referenced, Aspinall's only been out of the first round once in his UFC career, when he submitted Andrei Arlovski in the second round of their 2021 clash. Every other fight inside the octagon has ended in the very first round. Leon Edwards gets disrespected by former UFC fighter. Leon Edwards might have won the welterweight title and defended the belt twice, but the way Dean Thomas sees things, the former champion just isn't a true fighter at heart. On the heels of Edwards' lackluster performance against Sean Brady, Dean Thomas spoke about the loss with Anthony Smith during an appearance on Lionheart's On Paper show, saying that although Rocky is one of the most skilled fighters, the takedown that started the fight-ending sequence on Saturday showed that he's not a fighter at heart. I don't want this to be disrespectful towards Leon, because I still believe that skill for skill, his body type and all that he was a great champion. He's a great fighter. He's still top 5 material, but I just don't think that Leon is, in his heart, a real true fighter. And I say that in terms of Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. These guys will fight you in a parking lot. I think he's an athlete, and I think he's a performer. I think he's creative. I think in the gym, he probably eats up everybody in the gym. Super magical. I just think when the lights come on and it's time for him to really fight, despite not being a true fighter, he was still that good. He was still that good and still able to beat everybody. According to Thomas, despite the fact that he made it to the UFC, he wasn't a fighter at heart either. Because of that, he's confident that what he's seeing out of Edwards feels all too familiar. As he told Lionheart, there was a point in time where he too resorted to pulling guard and shooting for takedowns instead of, as he says, chewing iron. On the topic of Leon Edwards, Jorge Masvidal has called out Edwards for a fight. During an interview with Submission Radio, Jorge Masvidal called Leon fragile and was begging Dana White for an opportunity to fight him. Here's what he had to say. Give me the Leon fight, and after that, I'll fight whoever has that damn belt. I beat Leon in every way, shape, and form. He can't wrestle me for 5 rounds, so I don't have to worry about the takedowns, and I know on the feet he's fragile compared to me. Would you guys be interested in watching Leon Edwards versus Jorge Masvidal? Let us know down in the comment section below. Reinier de Reeder will force Bo Nickal to grapple. Bo Nickal might be considered one of the greatest, if not the single greatest NCAA wrestler of his generation, but that doesn't mean that Reinier de Reeder plans to keep things on the feet come May 3rd. Ahead of the fight, which many are calling the toughest test of Nickal's career given RDR status as a former one-champ, he spoke with MMA Fighting about the fight, revealing that he believes he has to make Nickal wrestle come fight night. I think I have to make him wrestle. As we saw in the Paul Craig fight, I think he's pretty scared of the jiu-jitsu on the floor. He's pretty scared to get caught with something, so I think I need to make him wrestle. I need to get close, put the pressure on him, hit him a couple of times, and I think he'll definitely start shooting. I think this fight is won or lost in a clinch. This is where the most of the fight is going to happen, and most of the exchanges of the fight will happen. I'm really working on seeing if I can get him with some good knees, some good elbows, throwing him, tripping him, getting to his back. That's the plan. While many members of the MMA community were critical of Nickal's striking against Paul Craig back at UFC 309, RDR said that although the fight wasn't great to watch, Nickal's footwork and striking wasn't half bad. Whether he could become the first man to defeat the NCAA legend in MMA, only time will tell. Terrence Crawford shuts down UFC pay comparison. Fighter pay has been a hot topic this week on the heels of Artem Vakhitov announcing that he would return to Glory Kickboxing to fight Rico Verhoeven instead of signing with the UFC. During an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Vakhitov spoke about the situation, saying that because he won his Dana White's Contender Series fight last year, the promotion was looking to offer him a standard entry-level contract instead of negotiating with his team and taking into account the fact that he's already one of the top kickboxers in the world. The situation opened the floodgates as the fighter pay discussion swept up the MMA community once more. During an appearance on Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo's Pound for Pound show, Terrence Crawford and Kamaru Usman went back and forth discussing fighter pay. Before we jump into the episode, we just want to give a quick shout out to the Pound for Pound show.
When we first fight in the UFC, you might be making 10 and 10. You go out there and win, you $20,000. Right. To where there's boxers that maybe 7, 8, 10 and 0. Hey, you want to fight this fight? All right, $2,500. That's all I mean.
Okay, so let me break it down to you.
All right.
UFC, that's like the top of the top. So we talking about the big stage. So once you make it to the UFC, you in the big leagues now. When I make it to the big leagues, when I'm on TV, I'm making more than you making when you come into the UFC.
On top of Vahitov opting to go back to kickboxing, fighter pay has been a hot topic because of Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh's new boxing promotion, with fans wondering whether the promotion would succeed using a pay scale similar to the UFC. Joe Pyfer sends a warning to Kelvin Gastelum ahead of UFC Mexico. This weekend, Joe Pyfer will be looking to build on a first-round victory over Marc-Andre Barrio when he heads into enemy territory to take on Kelvin Gastelum. While Gastelum's heading into this fight looking to re-establish himself at 185, Joe Pyfer is confident that his power will be too much for the former Ultimate Fighter winner on Saturday night. With Fight Week underway, Pyfer spoke with MMA Junkie about the fight, revealing that he has plans to make a statement with his performance. I love the matchup. I thought it was very exciting. The guy likes to bring it, and he's entertaining to watch. I would say as of lately, his performances haven't been Kevin of old, but I do believe he did his best work at middleweight. I know my teammate beat him in Sean Brady, but we're two completely different fighters, and that's a question that's been popping up a bunch, but our styles are different. Sean is an amazing grappler. I'm a good grappler. I'm a great striker, I think, and I want to be the first guy to knock Kelvin out. So yeah, when I saw the matchup, I thought it was a great fight for me. As Pyfer mentioned, although Gastelum has never been knocked out inside the octagon, he was dropped several times by Israel Adesanya, a fighter who is known for being a sniper more than he is a power puncher. Although he's well aware that the crowd in Mexico City will be against him, Bodybags has his sights on making it back-to-back knockouts when the two share the octagon. MMA Community calls out Nina drama for comment. Conor McGregor is making his Ireland presidential run and recently tweeted a newspaper that says, "We will stop McGregor's bid for eras." And Conor quoted it by saying, "No, you won't." Nina Drama responded to Conor's post saying, "President McGregor," and many people in the MMA community called her out for her hypocrisy. As many of you remember, she called out the MMA guru for making a joke about a reporter and called him for being a vile and pathetic human being. Her words, not ours. If you want to see the full breakdown of everything, make sure to check it out on our other channel. Given Conor McGregor's recent controversy in court, which he is trying to appeal, the MMA community called out Nina for her action by supporting McGregor, but finds someone like the MMA guru a horrible person, calling her out for supporting people that would only help her brand no matter their past, but trashed on someone for making a lighthearted joke on X. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. MMA Guru called her out and said, "Nina, what if I told you that while Conor McGregor was pinning down his victim, he oinked her in face, stuck an apple in her mouth, and called her a fat pig? Would that change your mind? I don't even think he's guilty based on the case, but this is very interesting from you. These people will do anything but admit the only reason they don't like me is because I was critical of them. Just funny at this point watching them hide behind their morals." Here's what the rest of the community had to say. MMA Guru called Kaplan fat harassment. McGregor being a my president. The things you would do to grow your brand. I'm usually against Nina hate, but this tweet did it for me. Remember when Nina cried about a YouTuber calling her friend fat? Just outraged and disgusted. How could one treat women that way? Zero integrity. Nina supports McGregor and Jones, but has to use her platform to speak out against MMA Guru. Complete sellout, LMAO. You aren't getting an interview, Nina. The double standards you show regularly is hilarious. Nina, the biggest Jones and McGregor fan, but tries to humiliate another man on Twitter for making a joke. What are your thoughts on the situation? Let us know down in the comments below.